Positively Muskegon, it was a big day in Muskegon politics today because Collene Lamonte decided she wanted to get back in the race for the 91st district. You were, what was it 2 years ago?
Yep, just a year and a half ago.
Year and a half ago.
Yep.
Holly came along. Holly started off with it. You got the seat. Holly came back. Now it's your turn again.
Well, let's hope so.
Yeah?
I'd like to think so. So,
yeah, talk about the announcement today. Was it all you'd expected and more?
yeah, I was truly humbled. We had over 30 people that came out, literally in gale storm rain.
It was terrible.
Oh yeah,
today.
it was windy. It was raining. It was pretty yucky out. But
well, it's a thunderous campaign that you're starting.
Well, it is, right. So we're off to a good start, and we're gonna roll through this just like thunder. So,
just like thunder.
Yeah.
Talk to me about your first time in Lansing. Was it what you'd expected? Was it a learning curve? Was it overwhelming? Tell me about it.
Yeah, sure. It is. It's absolutely. They say it's kind of like drinking from a fire hose.
Yep.
You are bombarded with all of the different aspects of our state government, and you think about all the ways that government touches your lives and all of the ways that you don't even realize how government touches your life.
Yeah.
And so it's learning about all those different state departments, how they function. You get assigned to committees and understanding how your role on that committee sets policy for our state regarding that particular issue. So I served on the education committee. Being a former teacher, that was a passion for me. I wanted to make sure that we were setting good policy for our state when it came to our kids' education.
Sure.
I also served on the Energy and Technology Committee, which, having a science teacher background, I've taught units on energy consumption and how that all works. That was important to me too, and having an environmental aspect to it, understanding that we need to make sure that as we meet our energy needs, that we are also not endangering our environment, and that we're leaving a clean world and a pure Michigan for our future generations. And I also served on the Financial Services Committee, which has to do with our banking institutions. And, that's one thing that I want to make sure that we have good protections out there for our consumers. That, we saw what happened in 2007 and 2008 when we had, the entire economic downturn of our country was literally based on Wall Street failures.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be a part of making policy in our state so that we could protect consumers from having that happen again.
I go about it by staying poor.
Right.
That way, if there's no money at Wall Street for me to lose, I'm safe, right?
Right, yeah.
I think everybody in Muskegon knows a little bit about that.
Yeah.
So this go around, what made you decide you wanted to take another shot?
Well, this was not an easy decision for me to come to. I struggled with this after I, lost the election back a year and a half ago. I was fully prepared to go back to my life and kind of melt back into just being that normal citizen and being a mom and a wife and, working. But here's the thing, I would go out into the community, I would go grocery shopping for my kids, I'd be out with my husband at a restaurant, we'd be at community events, and over again, I would run into people who would come up to me and say, Collene, are you running again? Please run again. We need you back in Lansing. There's too much stuff going on that we need somebody there who is going to listen to our concerns and hold the state accountable and make sure that our needs are being met. And as that continued, I really took on the responsibility that people were looking to me to be that person who was going to stand up for them. And I could not back down from that. I couldn't shirk that responsibility. And even though it's going to be a sacrifice once again for myself and my kids and my family, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be there to stand up for the folks of our community, make sure that people of Michigan have a voice there that's actually listening to their concerns and representing that in Lansing for them. Do
you feel this way about a lot of things in your life? I mean, you talked about being a teacher, you talked about being a mom, and now you're talking about going back to a very difficult job to advocate for people. Is that part of you?
I guess it is. I guess, my mom and dad brought me up with an idea of having a sense of public service. My dad was a small business owner, but he also was a volunteer firefighter. He volunteered in the fire department for our local community because he had a small business right there locally. Whenever a call came in, he could leave and go and help and fight those fires.
Just lock the door and go.
That's right.
Perfect.
And He also served as a city councilman for,
Did he?
yeah, for the city that I lived in.
I know a little bit about
Yeah,
that.
Right, exactly, right. right.
Did he get calls about, cars parked in yards and garbage pickups?
Oh yeah,
Did he?
absolutely.
And you still
absolutely.
wanted to do this?
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
okay,
yep,
well.
yep. So he got the phone calls at night, and of course, everything's landlines back
Sure,
then. So
sure.
yeah, so we got the calls at night whenever somebody was upset about something going on with their neighbor. Or,
What we do.
Yep, that's exactly right.
What we do.
But he, between my dad and my mom, they showed me the value of public service.
Sure.
And I went into teaching because I felt that I had a role to play in trying to pass on passion for learning and inspiring kids to go into science and math and all of the engineering,
Sure.
STEM, all those STEM careers. And when the state government and the federal government started making my job harder, I decided that we need policymakers who actually understand what's going on inside our classrooms,
Yep.
what it's like to teach not only in the nice districts, but in the districts where you have kids that are struggling with hard issues on a day-to-day basis.
And those districts are getting more and more.
That's right.
You'd think some of the districts out there, especially in some of the more affluent communities, they're seeing the same problems that the tough ones are now.
Absolutely. And in our state, we've seen childhood poverty go up every year for
Isn't
the
that
last 6
crazy?
years. And it's rising faster in our rural communities.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just the urban centers that everybody would like to, place certain fingers on. It is everywhere in our state, and especially in our rural areas.
Yeah.
And we have our rural areas right here in Muskegon
Yeah.
County. And I've been to those schools, and I've talked to those families. I understand the struggles that those families are facing. These are parents who used to have good paying jobs, but have since seen their jobs either shut down or moved out of state, and now they're left with low wage, dead end jobs.
Yeah.
And they can't make ends meet.
They can't.
So that's what I'm fighting for. Those are the people that I fight for, because you know what? I was one of those people. My family went through our own economic crisis. My husband lost his job because of the automotive industry downturn. We lost our house to foreclosure and had to live with my mom with our 2 small children at the time for a year and a half while we tried to get back on our feet. I know the fear and the anxiety and the frustration that these families go through.
Yeah.
If I can do whatever I can to make it so that no other family has to go through that, that's what I fight for every single day.
So we're going to get through the election process. You maybe find your way back to Lansing. What are your top? We talked about education and all that stuff. What are the other top things on your agenda?
I think we've seen an experiment in our state in the last 6 years of trying to run our government like a business. And what we get are decisions that are based strictly on a bottom line.
Yep.
Looking only at a dollar amount, and they're forgetting that there's real people and human lives that are behind those decisions that are being made.
Oh, yeah.
And we see problems like the Flint water crisis, we see problems like the Detroit public school system, and we see problems like the Grand Rapids Veterans Home.
Yeah.
And I know that when I served, I was always looking at not just what it was going to cost our state. I wanted to know how it was going to affect the people.
Yeah.
Because there is real lives behind these decisions. And when it comes to putting a person's safety or welfare at risk, or a community's welfare at risk, I'm sorry, you have to really look at it and take that in consideration.
Yeah. I want to give you a little bit of behind the scenes information you might not know about, but something you'd be proud of. With the Flint water crisis, we kind of spearheaded some water drives, and we pointed out Art Van doing what they can.
Right.
I got some behind the scenes information from Art Van. Muskegon literally did more than Grand Rapids, Detroit, and Lansing when it came to water donations between Muskegon and Flint.
Right.
I think there's a mindset that there are these 2 cities on either side of the state that are just, they're there, Muskegon and Flint.
Right.
I don't think we're getting the credit we deserve for what goes on in places like that. And I think it speaks volumes of the people in Muskegon, because they know what it's like to be in a tough situation like that.
Yes.
And they see what's going on in Flint, and they stepped up hugely.
And I tell you, it speaks a lot to the resiliency and spirit of the people that I see here in our community.
Yeah, it's a big thing. So, where's your first campaign stop?
Well, I'll be, hitting some campaign events. We've got some events that will be planned soon. I'm still working full time, so that it's always a balance trying to do that. So, yeah. It's,
I know.
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah.
We wish you the best. We
Thank
hope
you.
it's a great campaign for you. We hope it comes out the way you want it, with a win. We do have an invitation out to Holly Hughes. We want to keep things fair, to give her a chance to come on and talk about her agenda and the election going forward. Colleen, as you read in the blog, the first time I met her, she came knocking on my door, and we ended up on my doorstep for about an hour talking about all things Muskegon. You really made a great impression on me, and I wish you the best.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Collene Lamonte right here on Positively Muskegon.